a parts map the other day about war and how many parts are activated. And I woke up this morning actually feeling really good. And I wanted to dive into what parts are happening when I feel good and not just when I feel bad. And how these parts are working hard too to keep me safe. So let's dig into a couple of parts that I've been feeling. I have a part that says, we have everything we need. We have plenty of food, 2 freezers full of food. We have shoes. We have clothes. We have heat. We have friends. So that part is like, we're fine. What are we even worried about? We have everything we need. I have another part that it combines research and the here and now. And ironically, it's kind of nostalgic. Can't spell. It says in World War II, this is how people got along fine. In World War II, people were okay. Well, ones that made it. But in the United States, World War II, we sent soldiers off to a foreign land. The women all took jobs in the factory, and there was rationing of food and all sorts of things. But, we'll make it work. And maybe I'll do a little bit more research. This part wants me to do a little bit more research about, what really worked. There's another part of me that wants to do research about financial opportunities. So this part and this part are kind of, working together, and they want me to do research on financial opportunities. What stocks did well in the Great Depression? This part is like, we'll just figure it out. We'll just use information. These two. Information is power, right? Those parts are like, yeah, we can do that. And then I have another part. And this part is really interesting. It's rationalizing to explain. Okay, so it's having a hard time with that we have everything we need. Because it basically is trying to say why we've been living in abundance. Let me just point out, this is definitely a white, upper middle class, educated woman perspective. Okay, let's just keep that in mind. Very, very privileged. Okay, so this abundance, maybe there's this part wants me to say there's a reason that we have had so much food, and we have big houses, and we have lots of clothes and shoes, because during this time they didn't have that. And we've been preparing for this moment, this really hard moment of maybe, now here's another part that's going to come in and say, we may not have any money, no oil for gas, no electricity. So this one's like, oh my God, emergency. And this one's like, no. See, we're going to be okay. We're going to be okay. Don't you worry about a thing, poor little part. So the magic of internal family systems is that these parts can be unhelpful too. When you think about let's say your spouse watches something on the news and freaks out and calls you, everything's falling apart. They're really, they're in this part, the no money, no oil, no electricity. Oh my God, everything's falling apart. So this person, that your spouse is kind of, or your partner or your friend, all of this then feels like toxic positivity. Toxic positivity. Write it down again. Because this is not meeting parts where they are. And this also can make this part feel inside of you like it gets pushed away. Get out of here, part. We're fine. We're going to be okay. And what self does is self comes in. Remember, self is curious and calm and connected and compassionate. And it says to these parts, even though we're feeling better, right? Like in our systems, like, there's hope, and this part says, what are you afraid is going to happen if we don't rationalize and explain? And this part is saying to me, well, we are disgusting. We have overly bought and overly consumed and overly everything, and we're kind of gross. But maybe it was for this reason. There's another part that says, we have everything we need. Self says, what are you afraid of if we don't acknowledge this? Well, we'll go out and buy more stuff, and we don't need any more stuff. What is this part, this nostalgic part in this financial opportunities? Well, we won't be ready when we need to be to make changes in our finances or to do research. And so this self knocks that toxic positivity out. And it says there's a balance between this and how else we feel about war. And if self is in the driver's seat, these parts are extremely important. We don't want to push them away because our other ones are taking over. And that's what self says. Okay, who's going to drive shotgun with me today? Well, my parts are saying these parts are going to drive shotgun. But in the back seat is going to be this one. And that's okay. Because this balance is what brings us a sense of peace and calm. Because self is in charge. Self is saying, hey, you all matter to me. You all matter to our system. Let's just make sure we're doing it in a way that is helpful and keeps us feeling peaceful and calm. And also helps us do this for other people. Because when someone calls you and they're freaking out, these things often feel toxic. Instead of saying, tell me more about what you're worried about. Tell me more about your experience that this part has had and what it's afraid of.